Hey, let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you been worried about the Cowboys' run defense lately? Because if you have, you're not alone. And today, we're diving into something that might just change how you feel about it moving forward. See, Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa recently spoke to the media during OTAs, and what he said might have quietly revealed why things are about to get a whole lot better. But it's not just about Osa playing harder or Mazi Smith taking a leap. It's bigger than that. In an interview highlighted by the Landry hat, Osa opened up about how things are changing under new defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. He didn't call out Mike Zimmer directly, but let's be real, he kind of did. Osa said when he looks at last year's film, he sees plays he could have made if he had been doing what he's being coached to do now. That's a big statement. Think about that. Osa is literally saying that with the new approach being installed under Eberflus, he would have been in position to make plays that he missed last year. That tells us something very important. This isn't just about getting tougher or trying harder. It's about being coached differently, being put in better positions. That's coaching. That's scheme. And if you're like me, that probably gets your attention, because for too long, we've all been pointing fingers at personnel. Mazi Smith struggling, safeties not filling the run lanes, linebackers looking lost. But what if part of the issue was the system itself? So here's the question. Do you think Osa was indirectly blaming Zimmer for the defensive struggles, or was he just praising Eberflus? Drop your take in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. Also, quick poll. Who do you trust more to fix this run defense? Eberflus and his scheme, or a new one-tech DT if we sign one? Vote now. Now let's keep going, because Osa's quote isn't just about the past. It gives us a preview of what's coming next. All right now, that we know what Osa said and how it hints at something deeper, let's talk about the man at the center of this shift, Matt Eberflus. He might not be grabbing headlines like Dan Quinn used to, but don't let the calm fool you. Eberflus is quietly tearing things down and rebuilding them the right way, from the inside out. This guy's reputation is built on discipline, fundamentals, and accountability. And that's exactly what this Cowboys defense was lacking last season, especially against the run. Under Quinn, we saw flashes of brilliance, no doubt, but we also saw a system that leaned heavily on speed, chaos, and splash plays. Problem is, when you need to stand your ground and stop the run, chaos doesn't cut it. Eberflus is bringing in a totally different mindset. He wants gap integrity. He wants physicality at the point of attack. And most importantly, he wants every player, from the line to the safeties, to know exactly where they're supposed to be and why. That's the kind of coaching Osa was talking about. You remember those games where the Cowboys gave up chunk plays on the ground over and over? Like against the Bills when James Cook looked like prime Marshall Faulk? That doesn't happen because of one bad player. That happens when the system itself breaks down. Eberflus is here to fix that. And it's not just talk. Players are already saying the practices feel more focused, the drills are more purposeful, the attention to detail is tighter. This is the stuff that shows up on Sundays. Not in the first quarter, but late in the third when you've got to dig in and stop a 3rd-and-2 run cold. So let's do a quick temperature check. Do you feel more confident in the Cowboys' defense now that Eberflus is in charge? Let me know in the comments, and be honest. Next up, we're going to look at Mazi Smith, because if this new system is really going to work, he might be the biggest key. So let's get into it. Mazi Smith. Because if there's one player who perfectly represents the shift under Matt Eberflus, it's this guy. Mazi was a first-round pick for a reason. He's strong, he's explosive, and when he was at Michigan, he was a certified run stuffer. But let's be honest, in his rookie year with the Cowboys, he didn't look like that dude. And it wasn't all his fault. Under Dan Quinn, Mazi wasn't being used the way he should have been. Instead of anchoring in the middle as a traditional nose tackle, the role he dominated in college, he was asked to do more. Movement, more stunts, more read and react. That's not his game. He's a straight-up mauler. He's the kind of guy you want eating up double teams so your linebackers can stay clean and fly to the football. Now, under Eberflus, Mazi has a second chance to become exactly what the Cowboys drafted him to be, that immovable force in the middle. And let's not sugarcoat it. This is a make-or-break moment for him. If he can't take a big leap this year, questions are going to start swirling about, whether he was a reach in the first round. But here's the thing. Everything we're hearing out of OTAs points to Mazi showing up leaner, more explosive, and more locked in mentally. That's a good sign, because in this system, his success isn't just about stats. It's about freeing up everyone around him, guys like Osa, Micah, and Damone Clark, to make plays. So here's a question for you. Do you think Mazi Smith is ready to live up to that first-round billing in year 2, or do you still have doubts? Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk about it. Coming up, we're going to look at how this defense is shifting not just in style, but in personnel. Because the way the Cowboys are building this front seven looks very different from what we've seen in recent years. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting, because it's not just about coaching style. It's about the kind of players the Cowboys are stacking up front. Under Dan Quinn, the defense leaned heavily on speed, quickness, and positionless football. You had guys like Micah Parsons lining up everywhere, edge, linebacker, even inside at times. And it worked, to an extent. But when you get punched in the mouth in the playoffs, especially against physical teams like the 49ers, you start to realize that speed alone doesn't cut it. You need dogs up front. You need guys who can set the tone physically. And that's where Matt Eberflus is bringing a whole new blueprint to this defense. Let's take a look at what's happening with the front seven. The Cowboys have been targeting bigger, stronger, more physical bodies. Think about the addition of rookie edge rusher Marshawn Kneeland. This guy is a powerful, high-motor player who loves to set the edge and dominate in the run game. He's not just a pass rusher, he's a tone setter. Then there's Mazi Smith, who we just talked about. If he turns the corner this year, he gives Dallas a real presence at nose tackle. Add in Osa Odigizua, who keeps improving every season, and you're starting to see a group that can not only rush the passer, but also stand tall against the run. At linebacker, the focus has shifted too. Damone Clark is expected to take a big step forward, and Dallas brought in veteran Eric Kendricks, a guy who knows Eberflus's system from their time in Minnesota and understands how to lead a defense. This mix of youth and experience gives the Cowboys flexibility, but more importantly, it gives them accountability. So tell me this. Do you like the direction the Cowboys are going with this new look front seven? Are they finally building a defense that can survive deep into January? Hit the comments and let me know what you think. Next, we've got to talk about the secondary, because while everyone's focused on the trenches, there's a fascinating battle brewing at cornerback and safety, and it could shake up how this defense looks in a big way. All right, now let's shift our focus to the back end of the defense. And trust me, there's a lot going on here. While most people are watching the changes in the trenches and linebacker room, the secondary might be where Eberflus makes some of his boldest moves, because the way he uses safeties and corners is different. It's about versatility, instincts, and discipline, not just raw talent. Let's start with the cornerback room. Trevon Diggs is coming back from injury, and that's huge. But how will he fit into a more structured, zone-heavy system? He's known for gambling in man coverage and creating turnovers, but Eberflus might ask him to play with more patience, more positioning, and less freelancing. That's a big adjustment. Then there's Darren Bland. The guy broke out last season with all those pick sixes and became a fan favorite overnight. But can he thrive in a scheme that leans heavily on vision and awareness in zone coverage? Eberflus loves corners who read the quarterback and make smart breaks on the ball. Bland might actually be a perfect fit. But here's where things get spicy. The safety position. Under Dan Quinn, we saw a lot of three safety looks with Jaron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, and Malik Hooker. That package might not stick around in the same way. Kearse is gone, and Eberflus may want a more traditional two-safety setup. which means decisions have to be made. Who plays deep? Who steps into the box? And what happens to young guys like Wanye Thomas or Israel Mukwamu? One wild card to watch. Rookie Kalen Carson. He's physical, smart, and versatile, the kind of player who might quietly climb the depth chart during camp. Don't be surprised if he pushes for a nickel role or becomes a hybrid piece in sub-packages. So here's a question for you. Who's your pick to break out in this revamped secondary? Do you think Diggs can adjust to Eberflus's system, or will someone like Bland or Hooker take center stage? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this unit could be the X factor for Dallas this year. And now, let's bring it all together. The culture shift, the roster tweaks, and what it all means for the Cowboys' playoff hopes in 2025. So here we are. After breaking down the defensive line, the linebackers, and the secondary, it's time to ask the big question. Where is this Cowboys defense headed under Matt Eberflus? Let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't just about X's and O's. It's about culture, accountability, identity, and whether this defense can finally match the expectations that come with wearing the star. Because let's face it, year after year, we've seen flashes of greatness, followed by heartbreaking inconsistency. The question is whether Eberflus can change that pattern, not with hype, but with structure and results. And that's the key word, structure. With Eberflus, it's all about building a defense that works as one unit. Every player knowing their role, every rep in practice building toward discipline on Sunday. He's not the kind of coach who's going to give motivational speeches to go viral. He's going to drill the fundamentals until they become second nature. That might be exactly what this Cowboys roster needs. Now, no one's saying it'll be perfect from week one. There's going to be growing pains. Some players might struggle to adapt. There might be bumps early in the season as the scheme gets fully installed. But if Eberflus sticks to his core, effort, alignment, and assignment, the payoff could be massive by December. And let's not forget the bigger picture. This defense doesn't need to carry the whole team. Dak, ceedee, and the offense are still loaded. What the Cowboys need is a defense that doesn't collapse in the biggest moments, a unit that can get off the field on third down, that can make a stop in the fourth quarter, that can be trusted when the season's on the line. So let's open it up one last time. Do you believe Eberflus is the right guy to turn this defense into a championship-caliber unit? Or are you worried that the Cowboys are repeating the same cycle with a new name? Vote in the poll, sound off in the comments, and if you're fired up about the Cowboys 2025 season, make sure you're subscribed. We've got a long road ahead, but it might just be the start of something special.